Welcome to the Specialist Trading Weekly Stock Review for the week ending October 22nd, 2010. We want to start out by reviewing the action from this past month. As you see here, this is a daily chart of the S&P index, and as we can see here, from the end of September through the current time in October, we've been steadily heading upward in an upward trend. But this past week's action, as you can see in the last 5 days, has pretty much been sideways. We started out on Monday appearing as if we were going to break out and continue into making new highs, but as you see, we sold off Tuesday, the very next day, and then kind of went sideways for the remainder of the week. So it was represented in our trading this week. We had a pretty flat week profit and loss for the 4 trades we did, and we'll go over each and every trade for this past week. But before we begin, we ask that you take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you the performance results from all of the signals that were posted on our site this week, but remember, we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to show you will be repeated in the future. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer, and then we shall begin this week's stock review. All right, let's start out with the stock positions that were initiated this week. And remember, all of the trades you're going to be seeing are actual signals that were posted on our website. Now, you can take these signals to trade from, and you can actually enter and use the entries in the exit points and the stop placement. But what we'd rather see you do is use these signals that were posted nightly more as a learning tool, because you're learning these strategies. There are a number of strategies to choose from, and we want you to learn and see how the trade would have panned out. Once you get more familiarized with all of the strategies and you pick 1 or 2 that you're more comfortable with, you can see the signals on your own. You can see the patterns and choose whichever ones you want. Remember, there are literally dozens of signals nightly, on a nightly basis, in all of the markets. I pick the best 1 to 10 that I feel show the highest probability for success. But this does not mean that the ones that I did not put on the website are not successful in their own right. So it's up to you. You can see a number of signals in stocks that perhaps I did not post on the site. What we're going over are the actual signals that I did post on the site and took trades in. Now, the first one is in CTAS. This was a double signal, meaning that it had buy signals in both strategies number 1 and strategies number 4. If you've gone to our video library, you'll see that each strategy has a particular personality attached to it, meaning how long you're going to be in the trade, how much risk it has applied to it. And strategy number 1 has you in the trade a lot longer, anywhere from 3 to 4 days to a couple or even 3 weeks. Strategy number 4 has you in the trade where you're actually in and out very quickly. With this particular trade, though, we went long on the 20th at 27.47. We exited the next day at 28.07 for a 60-cent gain. All right, so let's show you how this panned out. Now, we're looking at this through strategy number 1. Now, strategy number 1 usually lasts a lot longer than this, but this trade exited very quickly. With strategy number 1, we use our Donchian channels, as you can see here. All right, once we have our Donchian channels, which helps us to determine what trend we are in and which direction we're going and where to place our entry orders, then we look to see where price is in relation to the buy-sell line, as you see here, our 50-period simple moving average. And for all intents and purposes, the price is well above. So this means we're only going to be looking for buy setups, okay? This means we're only looking for signal bars or setup bars that are going to be aiding us in going long. And as you see here, these are all our setup bars. The setup bars have to meet a certain amount of requirements, a certain amount of rules in order for it to be qualified as a setup bar. Now, once you go to the video library and you learn the rules, you'll see what the setup bars are. All of these bars here circled in blue are valid setup bars. Now, none of these bars were setup bars. Okay? So what this means is once we trade above the high of the setup bar, we can go long, CTAS. And on this setup bar, we never did. Neither did we on this one. But if we see here on this particular setup bar, we did. We actually opened up a little higher, so we entered long at 27.47. Okay? And you would have placed your stop roughly somewhere on these lows here, right below the low of the sell-off. Okay, so your stop would have been down here, and once you've placed your stop, you've entered the order, you've placed your stop, then where do you get out? Well, once price touches the top Donchian channel, that's where you exit. And as you can see here, that's why it was such a quick trade, because the very next day after we entered, price went up and touched the highest Donchian channel at 28.07. So this was our exit. We made a quick 60 cents in just one day using strategy number 1 in CTAS. Our next trade was in TSN using strategy number 4 only, and strategy number 4 is designed to capture quick profit. So on these trades, you're actually in the trade on average from 1 to 3 days. Sometimes you're in and out on the same day. But we went short TSN on the 20th at 15.36, and in this particular trade we got stopped out the very next day for a 40-cent loss. So with all of our strategies, the first thing we do is we always ask ourselves, where is price in relation to the buy-sell line, our 50-period simple moving average? And obviously price is below, so this means we're only going to be looking for short setups. So we need to find the setup bar. And according to the rules of strategy number 4, this was our setup bar right here, circled in blue. So once you learn these rules of each particular strategy, you'll learn what the setup bar is for each particular strategy. So this means we could go short if we trade one tick below the setup bar. And as you can see, we did. We traded one tick below it, 15.36. We got short. And here was our exit level, roughly about 14.90. So you placed an order to cover your short right here, and your stop was just above the high of the setup bar. Unfortunately, as you can see, the very next day, we got stopped out. We went up here and touched the top of the setup bar, which was our stop level. So we had a quick loss of 40 cents in this particular trade. Our next trade was an SPLS. This was a double signal again using strategy number 1 and strategy number 4. So we decided to take the quick trade in this particular time. We didn't want to be in the market that long, so we used strategy number 4, meaning that we'll use that particular exit level to get us out very quickly. So we went long on the 21st at 20.37, and as you can see the really quickness of this particular strategy, we exited the very same day for a 33-cent gain. This is why our day traders that are members of specialist trading particularly like trading with strategy number 4, because it really gets you in and out very quickly. Many times you do not even have to hold a position overnight, as in this case. Once again, where is price in relation to the buy-sell line? Price is below. So we're only going to be looking for long setups. We're looking for a setup bar, and here's our setup bar right here. It meets all the qualifications to go long if we trade one tick above. So we traded one tick above. On the very next day, we entered at 20.37. And with strategy number 4 especially, we have two different levels in which to place your stop. Two different options. Stop placement number 1 or stop placement number 2. So it's up to you. This is why we say these are not systems. We give you some discretion as to where to place your stops, where to exit. If you want to move your stop to unchanged, there's a lot of different leeway, a lot of different room for you to use your own discretion from your experience or from how long you've been trading these particular strategies. So that's why we're not saying that these are all systems. These are strategies. Systems require you to follow the rules the exact way each and every time. Strategies are probably about 70% rule-based and 30% discretion-based. So we give you some room here to choose. So if you decide to use stop placement number 1, you're being a little bit more conservative. You're having your stop as close as possible. With stop placement number 2, you're a little bit more aggressive. You're giving yourself some more room, but with that more room comes added risk. So whichever stop placement you decide to use, you have your stop in once you've entered the trade, and then through calculation of strategy number 4, you come up with your exit level, which happens to be 20.70. Once again, the calculations for your exit are on the video learning section of the video library of the website. So you would have come up with 20.70 and simply placed an open order, and as you can see, look what happened. You got in, you place your stop, you come up with your calculations to exit, and you're filled a couple hours later for a quick 33 cents. Now this is a very inexpensive stock, a $20 stock. You could have bought multiple shares or even thousands if you had enough capital and made a quick 33 cents here. Our next trade was in TGT, and this is a great example of money management, once again, where we give you discretion in which you can move your stop to unchanged, because in this particular trade, strategy number 4, we had a long signal, and we were having a nice profit, but we moved our stop to unchanged, one of the variables that you can choose from, and we got stopped out unchanged. So let's show you how this worked out. We're above the buy-sell line, so we're only going to be looking to go long. All right, that's our rule. If price is above the buy-sell line, this means we can only look for buy setups. And so we look for the setup bar, and here's our setup bar. This is the bar that meets all of the rules. So the setup bar is extremely important because it tells us if we're going to be going long, where do we go long, where do we place our stop, where do we exit. Everything is determined off of the setup bar. That's why it's so important to learn the rules to these strategies and go to the video learning section and learn how to calculate what the setup bar is. So this bar is our only one and only setup bar, so this means we can go long if we trade above the setup bar. And we did the very next day, and we entered at 54.33. We place our stop just below the low of the setup bar, stop placement number 1. Stop placement number 2 would be somewhere down here at these levels. We decided to use stop placement number 1. And then we calculate our exit. Our exit was calculated at 55.13. Once again, that's our strategy number 4, proprietary exit. So we placed an open order to exit all of our shares at 55.13. So that's it. We've done everything. We're just kind of sitting back and waiting now. We entered. We have an open order to get out with a stop sell if we're wrong. And we have an open order to exit all of our shares if we're right. And we just kind of sit and wait. And one of the suggestions that we give to all of our members, and remember this is not a rule, this is a suggestion that you can use on your discretionary behalf, is that when you reach 70% of the distance to your exit level, you have the option to move your stop to unchanged. And why is this? Well, many times we've seen that we've gotten very close to exiting with strategy number 4, where our exit level is, and then things turn around, and then the trade turns into a loss. So we've suggested, once again, this is not a rule written in stone, but we've suggested if we reach 70% of that exit level, you have the option to move your stop to unchanged. So as you can see here, we moved our stop to where we entered at 54.33 because the day we entered, we got 70% of the distance to exiting with a nice gain here. We almost got up to these levels, but look what happened. We completely turned around and we placed our exit stop level unchanged, and we actually broke even on the trade. So I know a lot of you are able to be in front of your computer during the day, so had you been watching the trade such as us, you would have been doing this intraday. But don't worry, many times people say, well, I come home, Steve, and I didn't see that we had gotten up 70%, so I didn't have a chance to move my stop to unchanged. That's okay. You can just, the very next day, you can place your order here, to a limit order to exit here if you wanted to get out of the trade entirely. And many times you'll see you'll come back up to these levels and kind of hover, and it'll decide which direction it's going to go. So do not worry if you're not able to be in front of your computer the entire day. Now we have some stocks that are still in play. These are stocks that we initiated